part 27 of sharing my story on here because it's so much easier than writing another book. And this is such a fun time of my life because my mom and I are creating Money Maniac couponing course and music videos, and we did the whole 9 yards. Like, we had a studio for the training videos because like you couldn't build websites and stuff and shoot video the way you can now. We didn't even have iPhones yet. They were out, but it was like version 3 of the iPhone. So we are hiring people and doing all these creative things and having so much fun and doing the launch. And I also had a second program that went with it that was called Coupon for a Cause, where we were doing group couponing for like back to school drives and Christmas drives and really working together to get deals. And it was such a blast to do with the community because I was also involved in Seroptimist. And so Seroptimist is a program like the Elks or the Lions, except it's for women who are either business owners or like management level and above. So I had always put myself around older women because that was how I learned and grew and just learned how to love myself more and be light about the things that happen, because there is nothing like sitting with an 80-year-old woman who has been through hell in their life and she's just like, nothing matters, just be you. And so that was how I learned to embody a lot of that. So I'm a part of Seroptimist International, where it's about bettering the lives of women and girls. And I'm at our district meeting, and it's in the Red Lion Hotel at Jansen Beach, which is like Portland, Oregon. And the luncheon speaker, now I'm like wearing suits and heels and doing this crazy couponing thing and teaching people, and we're really just having a blast. And the luncheon speaker is talking about human trafficking. And it's, of course, some white dude. And he had been over in India and was talking about the horrors of trafficking and trying to relate it to what happens in the United States. And I'll never forget sitting there at my big round table in my heels and suit and looking up at the PowerPoint presentation where he lists out what it means to be trafficked. And basically it's the adult industry stuff, but it's an added layer of force, fraud, or coercion, or if a person was a minor. And I'm like eating my turkey croissant and watching this and realizing for the first time in my life that it wasn't my fault. That it wasn't my fault, that it wasn't just this lifestyle of pimps and hoes, that I had been coerced and groomed, and all of a sudden, all of this shame was just washing away, and I was feeling so much freedom, and then realizing that I had been like trafficked in that exact hotel like the decade prior, and here I am in a whole different life, whole different concept, going, what the actual fuck? Like my whole world just exploded, and I'm like, what is going on? And no one had ever told me that it wasn't my fault. And I just held it together because that's what Martin taught me to do. And I just like bit my tongue until it was swollen. And I sat there and I kept eating, and I went through the rest of the day in the conference. I don't know what the hell was said because I was in my own world of like rewriting this story of like, oh my God, it's not, I wasn't just a prostitute. Like, yeah, I had this time of being independent, but this was trafficking. That's what that was. That was trafficking. Oh my God. I get in the car that night after the end of the conference, and I turn on the car, and this song comes on, and I don't even remember the song now. It was a Christian song. And it was one of my favorite songs, and it was about using your voice and like sharing your message and your heart. And I knew what I had to do. I knew I needed to start sharing my story. I needed to tell people what was going on and give a different context. I go home, I'm sobbing. I'm like snot bubble crying the whole drive home. I get home, and Mom and Reed are sitting at the kitchen table. The kids are already in bed. And I'm like, yo, we need to talk because boy, do I have some news for you. And we have this conversation just sitting there. And it's like, okay, it's time to share the story. We're going to like figure out how to do this the best possible way, but I'm going to share my story. And I had no idea the ramifications that would come from this, because I had this perception that like it suddenly it wasn't my fault. And I didn't know how the world would perceive me. And I was so square, you know, it's like now I'm this Christian mom with 4 kids and I'm running a business. And like, I was so normal. And if it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone. It just made sense to share my story. And I told one person besides Mom and Reed, and it was a lady that I shared an office with. And she is so sweet. Her name is Lori Stegman. She actually, I helped her at one point run for office for the very first time. She's still in office, still doing amazing things in the community. And I love her. So I tell her that, you know, I'm a trafficking survivor, and she's like, oh my God, let's go, let's do this. And she made a couple calls, and I end up doing an exclusive on Coin 6, which is also on my Tube of You. If you go over there, same name, you can see the very first video I ever did on Coin 6, where I'm sharing my story. And it's in that office. I had no idea what was about to happen. And my mom is like, you are not prepared. Now, because of living under the different names and like trauma just does things to your head, my stories would come out all like not in a good timeline, and things weren't accurate. She locked me in her room, her and I together, for like 3 days before this interview. She's like, we have to get your story straight. We have got to figure out what is right, what is correct, what isn't, and where things fit in a timeline. So for 3 days, we spent in her room timelining my life and getting my story straight, like verifying with information. Oh, I was at this place at this time. Oh, we had this postcard. Oh, like we had these different pieces, and we started to build my timeline out, because she said that the worst thing you can do when you're public and sharing stories is be inconsistent. Like, you need to have consistency. Things have to be verifiable. Her wisdom saved my freaking bacon, because that it was so grateful for her to have that insight, because whoa, trauma does some messed up things to your head. And if you don't have your facts solid, that's a reason why I'm able to do this today, is because I know how to do timelines. So we do this timeline, and they come to the office to do this exclusive interview. And right before they turn on the cameras, and this is like 2009, they have huge stinking cameras, and they're like setting it up in the office, and there's a crew there. Now they do it like with one person and a cell phone, it seems. But before, it was like this huge camera. They set up, they turn the lights on, and my mom leans over right before they turn the cameras on, and she goes, Jess, you don't want them to like sit, but she said the words. She's like, you don't want them to slip when you're done. And we both busted up laughing, the dark humor. What she was saying to me was, she's like, your story's really bad. Make sure you leave them with hope. But that has just so resonated in my being ever since, because I was like, yeah, when you're telling really dark stories, you got to remember that I'm still here. I'm still living. And so I do that interview, and it's like a 4.5-minute interview. And it was like immediate recognition. The moment that aired, my phone started ringing off the freaking hook. Nothing but speaking engagements, requests to do interviews. Like, can you go here? Can you go here? We want to hear more of your story. Can you share here? What do you think about this program? Like, it was so freaking fast. It was just like lightning fast. And my entire world changed. Like, everything changed. Mom and I were like, whoa, quick pivot, couponing and trafficking. And just when you think it can't get any more crazy, it does.